Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you guys are new here, then welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal and I am so glad that you guys clicked on today's video. As you guys can see by the title, today's video is going to be a paralegal Q&A part 4. I can't believe we're already on part 4. I feel like I did another paralegal Q&A, but I forgot to give it a part, so this may even be part 5. But anyways, thank you guys for clicking on today's video. If you guys are not already subscribed, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please also turn on your post notifications so that you guys are notified the moment I upload a video. So in today's Q&A, I'm going to be answering 12 of you guys' questions, and I'm really hoping that I can get through it all in one video. So if this is getting long, then I'm going to stop it and then I'll just post the rest in paralegal Q&A part 5 or whatever. With all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the first question. So question number 1 is from Carla. Carla says, "Hi girl, you mentioned we need to take an exam to be considered a certified paralegal, different from having a certification." Correct. That is literally correct. You're on the right track. And then she says, "Can you go more in depth about the exam and that topic? Question mark. And if it's for all states or only California." Okay, so first I'm going to start by answering the first question. So basically the exam that she's referring to, if you guys haven't seen a previous paralegal video of mine, I said that I am a certificated paralegal, which means I have my certificate, but I'm not a certified paralegal. So I haven't taken the CLA, paralegal exam. A lot of paralegals haven't. You don't necessarily need it to be a paralegal, obviously, but it is something, good to have to add to your resume. Go look at my other video if you want more in depth about that. But I basically have that a certified paralegal, which is this legal assistant exam, is a really rigorous, demanding exam that will require extensive preparation. So now for the exam, you'll have 3 hours to complete 120 knowledge exam questions. That gives you approximately 90 seconds per question, which is a minute and 30 seconds, right? However, a more efficient way to use your time is to answer the ones that come easily to you as quickly as possible so that you can have more than 90 minutes on the questions that were a little bit more difficult to you. The exam is broken down into sections, both of which you will need to pass in order to receive certification. Proceeds to say that you need to pass these sections in order. So basically that means that you aren't able to move on to the second section until you have achieved a passing score of the first section. Okay, so that kind of makes a little bit more sense. So basically it's broken up into 2 sections. You'll take the first section. Once you pass that, I'm pretty sure they're going to grade you either on the spot or grade you as you're going. Once you pass the first section, now you'll be able to take the second section, if I'm understanding that correctly. So then it says the first section is a knowledge exam and the second section is a skills exam. The knowledge exam is made up of 120 multiple choice questions, only 100 of which actually count towards your score. So 20 of those questions that you'll be answering won't even count towards your score. It says those questions will cover the following range of legal knowledge. So I received another question asking, do they know what's going to be on the CLA exam? So it's going to consist of United States legal system. So basically, I guess starting off with the branches and then going from there, civil litigation, contracts, corporate and commercial law, criminal law and procedure, estate planning and probate, real estate and property, torts, and professional and ethical responsibility. So that's 9 categories and sections in which the first 120 multiple choice questions will consist of. And I'm going to leave a link to a website that has a little bit more information about the CLA exam and kind of a little bit more of what you need. But there's a lot of information out there, and they do have this exam in multiple states. So this exam is for all states. So if you take this exam and you pass in California, you'll be good whether you go to Nebraska, New Jersey, whatever other state that you go to. So I hope that answers your question. So moving on to question number 2. I feel like my blazer looks so wrinkled. I promise you guys it's not. maybe it is a little bit, but I feel like it's so oversized in the way that I'm like leaning, it looks wrinkled. So please just ignore the blazer for today. So moving on to question number 2. This one's from Alex. He says, "Hey Crystal, love your channel, Paralegal and OC here. What is something you learned on the job that you wish they taught you in paralegal school?" Hey Alex. So I wrote down 2 things. The first thing, I would say the pace of things, how quickly of a turnover some tasks are needed, right? In paralegal school, they give you like what, overnight or something to complete something, and like in reality you'll be given an assignment to research something, and your supervisor, whether it be your supervising attorney, your paralegal supervisor, whoever, they're going to want it in like an hour, you know? So I would say that that was a thing that shocked me a little bit, because I didn't expect turnover to be so swiftly. But also that depends on what type of law you're in, because when I was in civil litigation and lemon law, the turnover was super fast. But then once I got into entertainment law, the turnover obviously wasn't as fast. So that kind of depends as well. But they could have maybe touched on that a little bit more. And the second thing I wrote was maybe they could have gone a little bit more into depth about billables and how difficult billables can be sometimes. And not only that, but also to like in regards to educating us a little bit more on billables, maybe tell us, like, just to let you know, each place has a minimum billable requirement, right? And so you're really, held to that requirement. If you don't meet that requirement, you're going to get fired. And it's a good thing to ask this billable requirement in your interview, so that going into the job, like, hey, this job may pay 5K more, but they're expecting 1,000. Okay, no, that's crazy. They're expecting 150 more billables a month. You get what I'm saying? So I would say the pace of work and just a little bit more education about billables. Like, UCLA did a great job of teaching me how to bill. So like I knew how to do billables, but I guess just more of the expectations around billables, if that makes sense. But moving on to question number 3. Question number 3, I believe, is from Pam. And they said, "Hi, Crystal. What is the earning potential for a paralegal in your experience?" So I am actually so glad that this question was asked, and I wanted to put this on here, not because I'm about to do a whole deep dive and go like super in depth. I really think that this question deserves its own video. So I'm going to literally dedicate a whole video to just salary, earning potential, and expectations. But until then, I'll give you a little something. So I Googled basically like what the highest paid paralegals are, because a lot of you guys are asking like, what's a paralegal pay potential? But there's so many different types of paralegals in so many different fields. So obviously the pay is going to be different across all fields. So I just kind of did like just a generic search saying like highest paid paralegal, right? I'm going to go in order. Obviously the first is a paralegal manager. Then you have a legal project manager. Then you have an intellectual property paralegal, a nurse paralegal. I've never even talked about being a nurse paralegal. After that, you have employment and labor law paralegal, government paralegal, senior paralegal, and a corporate paralegal being 8th on the list. Not sure where they got this list from, but I feel like there may be some truth to the list. I don't know. I don't know anybody that's a nurse paralegal, but pay is so discretionary because it not only goes based off of like where you live, it goes based off of your experience or the type of firm you're at. You could have 2 criminal law firms and they could be offering you a $10,000 difference, but one may be asking more billable. But anyways, I also wanted to mention that the average, a lot of people were asking this too. I just got this off of Glassdoor. I use Glassdoor and ZipRecruiter. I'll leave those links below as well, but I'm going to put like a little chart here on the screen. And basically it says that the average amount annually that a paralegal in California makes, so that's a year, is $45,588. That's average. So some may make less and some may make more. On the lesser end, they have 32,568, and on the higher end, they have 87,335, right? And so this is the paralegal salary based specifically in California. Now, if you want to broaden it out and go the entire United States, obviously you have more outliers because you have more higher paying jobs, more lower paying jobs. So this, makes the average fluctuate a bit. So the average actually went up a couple of $1,000s to $59,731 as average in the entire United States, not just California. But then again, you have to think about the price of housing where you live. I will say that 54,000 $588, with that being like average, and without kind of like telling my salary, because I don't want to like make it too personal towards myself, but my pay was higher than $54,588 annually, which is $26 an hour, which in California, I think the minimum wage right now is $10 to $15 an hour. So this is $26 an hour. So what I will say is my first job as a paralegal 5 years ago, I did make more than $54,588 a year. So like I said, it all really depends. And when I did receive that paralegal job, I did have my degree, I did have my paralegal certificate, and I was already a file clerk at the law firm that I was at. So I don't know if I would have went somewhere else if my salary would have been higher, or I don't know if my salary could have been lower if I went somewhere else and didn't stay at the law firm that I was working in. But like I said, salary is going to be its own video. I want to break it down so much more. I just wanted to briefly surface talk this. Moving on to question number 4. They said, "Hey Crystal, shout out from Canada. So I'm graduating from high school in June and I want to get into law/paralegal, but I don't have any experience. What do I need before getting into it? Is it better to go to uni or college?" Okay, so I'm not from Canada and I didn't know that there was a difference between uni or college. I thought uni was short for like a university, which is a college. But I know there's also 2-year colleges. I don't know if there's 2-year colleges in Canada as well, but I think it depends. I think if you want to start at a university, it also depends on how much you know you want to go into law. If you know that you want to like be an attorney, you're of course going to need to get a bachelor's degree. So if you want to be an attorney, I suggest you go to a 4-year university and get your bachelor's degree either in like pre-law or criminal justice, something along the lines of like a legal field. And then when you're done with that, you either have the option of going to law school because you need a bachelor's degree to go to law school, or you can then reroute and go to a paralegal schooling program, which mine was a year, some are less than a year, depending on which program you take. So I think it really all depends on what you want your outcome to be. Do you want to be an attorney or do you want to be a paralegal? First, figure out your outcome and then figure out, a lot of people take pay into consideration. Are you ready to go into a university, or do you want to enroll into a paralegal course, which is shorter and less expensive as well? So yes, I would say since you're fresh out of high school and summer is coming up, then maybe you should try getting like a summer job as like a part-time file clerk at a law firm, or maybe even just as like a front desk receptionist. Just do like something really small that requires you to like, answer phone calls, just so you're like in the environment, and then that also goes to your experience. And then from there, just decide what path you want to take in regards to schooling. So moving on to question number 5. It says, "I know I'm interested in probate and trust as well as real estate. My background thus far has been in customer service, account management, HR. My biggest concern about becoming a paralegal is really the longevity since AI is being incorporated. What's your take?" Ooh, I actually really like this comment because a lot of people have been telling me like, "Girl, AI is about to take your job." Like, no, have several seats. AI is not taking my job. Okay. So basically, my thoughts on it are, I just like jotted down some notes too, so I didn't forget. But I kind of think that the work of paralegals can be both like routine in a way, but then also strategic. Routine in a way where we insert data and, just our job just gets very routine. And then it's also strategic because we have to like think outside the box sometimes, right? Like not everything we do, the answer can be found on Google. Sometimes we have to actually use our brain and use some common sense. And AI, thank God, doesn't have that yet, at least. And I also think for most time consuming tasks, such as like research, document review, data entry, AI can be like a powerful tool to get paralegals tasks done at a high value, faster pace, right? But in a sense, I also believe that AI will just be like a tool that is incorporated into paralegals using. not necessarily like a tool that's going to replace a paralegal itself. So it could help a paralegal get their job done quicker. I mean, that in turn could affect like billables, or I don't even want to go down that road, but it could help a paralegal get their job done quicker, like I said, in regards to research, data entry, things like that, and be a tool that a paralegal uses. But I do not think that AI will ever replace the work of a paralegal. Law is such like a niche thing, and I feel like if you just like pop in something in AI and it generates something back to you, it needs a sound person to be like, okay, but wait a minute, I know something that this AI doesn't know, and to kind of like use our analytical skills and our critical thinking skills. So those are my thoughts on AI. I'm thinking it's going to be a tool once they start really incorporating it. I don't think it's going to, in short term or long term, replace the actual paralegal themselves. So moving on to question number 6, they said, hi, I'm interested in becoming a paralegal, and the school I'm applying to is mentioning 2 programs offered, one that's NALA approved and one that's not. I wanted to know, did you sit for the exam, and is it necessarily required to become a paralegal? Okay, so for those of you that don't know what NALA means, it's capital NALA, and that basically just stands for National Association of Legal Assistants. So I didn't actually know that some paralegal programs were NALA approved. I thought the only type of approved were ABA. So I even learned something new when researching her question. So ABA is basically the American Bar Association, and NALA is the National Association of Legal Assistants. So if your debate is to take an accredited, which is a NALA accredited program versus a non one, I would always go with the accredited program. I'm interested to know the difference between the programs. If you can let me know if there's like a price difference, there probably is a price difference. That's probably where they get you at. But let me know if there's like a price difference, or if you sat in on like the info sessions, let me know like what they broke it down to you as, like what do you kind of see the difference in the programs being, because that's really interesting that one school is offering an accredited versus a non-accredited program. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. So I did a little bit more research just to give you guys like a little bit more background. So some law schools that are ABA approved, they provide a program of legal education that meets a minimum set of standards by the Council of the Section of Legal Education and Admissions to the Bar. So it's by a council that is admitted to the bar, which then makes up the American Bar Association. So the standards are found in the ABA Standard and Rules of Procedure for approval of law schools, which then trickled down to paralegal schools. But now that you're saying there's a NALA one, that's really interesting. I also would be interested to know, is it a NALA like paralegal program, or is it a NALA legal assistant program? Because there is a difference between a legal assistant and a paralegal. You really want to make sure you're getting into the right program. So maybe do a little bit more research on that. Leave a comment down below and we can talk a little bit more about that. Okay, guys, so I got through 6 questions so far, and I think this video is probably already almost at 20 minutes. So I'm going to sit here and answer the rest of the 6 questions, but it's going to be in the next video. So I'm going to end this video here. This was Paralegal Q&A part 4, I believe. So thank you guys for clicking on another video. Again, please do not forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so that you guys are alerted when I upload the part 5, which is going to be the other half of the 6 questions that I wanted to answer today. So again, thank you guys all for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next week in another paralegal video. Bye. Money all around me. I look like I'm the man.